What's up, folks? Cross SG back with hopefully a short video. I just wanted to showcase certain things real quick. We are in patch 1.1.1. I actually recorded a lot of this live on stream, but for some reason, the recording, the audio was a little bit messed up and a bunch of corruption issues. So I decided to just record this again off stream. In patch 1.1.1, there were a few changes, and quite significantly, what I want to focus on in this video is the Barber. As some of you might know already, prior to this patch, there were a few various classes. Different classes had different issues with the Barber. The Barber broke certain skills in certain classes. Certain procs weren't working with the Barber, and as of this patch, as I discovered live on stream, maybe I'll kind of splice some footage into this video if I can rescue some of the stream footage. But basically, as far as I can tell, everything that wasn't working or wasn't working well with the Barber is now working. So there are three main things that, at least as it applies to my barbarian, that wasn't working terribly well prior to this patch. The first one is, so pressure point wasn't working at all prior to this patch with the Barber, right? You put the Barber on and pressure point would just flat out not proc at all. Like, I have a clip that I'll probably show somewhere in this video that shows me basically spinning for a minute or two, a couple of tests, and no pressure point procs with the Barber on. So Barber is on right now. So just observe, look at how much vulnerable procs I get. No procs. No procs at all. Nothing, nada. See, I can just hold the button down forever. It's not going to proc. The second one would be this, Relentless Berserker. Relentless Berserker wasn't really working too well. So pressure point wasn't working at all. Relentless Berserker, it wasn't working too well because it only worked when you hit targets outside of the Barber window, right? So it still had a chance to proc, as long as you weren't critting and you weren't kind of activating the Barber window, right? So it still had a chance to proc, but then, of course, majority of the time you are in the Barber window, so majority of the time this wasn't proccing. And the third thing that I want to show in this video, and I'm sure there are a lot of other interactions, but these are the three main ones for me personally, and I just thought I'd do a quick video showcasing it. So the third one would be, of course, the exploit glyph. Now, the issue with the exploit glyph is it's not that it doesn't work at all, right? Even I've said it myself. It's just a figure of speech. The exploit glyph doesn't work with the Barber. Not entirely accurate. It did work with the Barber, but there were certain scenarios where it wouldn't work, like obviously the vulnerable damage that you get still applies, but what we are concerned about here is the vulnerable proc, right? And the issue was, if the first hit you land was a crit, the Barber would start absorbing damage, and during that absorb damage phase, any enemy that you hit essentially for the first time, which is supposed to proc exploit, doesn't proc exploit. Right, and then it starts a whole cycle of, you need to kind of wait for that 20-second internal cooldown to be up, and hopefully you are outside of the Barber window and you don't land any crits, or maybe you have Thorns damage that doesn't crit and it happens to deal damage outside of the Barber window, and those would proc exploit. And basically exploit was working very unreliably as long as you had the Barber equipped, and it was basically working as normal the minute you remove the Barber. Okay, so the first thing I want to showcase is the Relentless Berserker one, because this is the easiest. I don't have to change anything in my gear or my talent points or anything. What you're looking out for is I will gain the Berserking buff. It will pop up right here, either after critting with Lunging Strike or after landing a death blow. Both of these things grant me the Berserking buff, and how it worked before the patch is very often that Berserking buff would just run through its duration and then it will fall off. And once in a while, if I happen to get that, like I described earlier, that lucky hit that lucky non-crit hit in outside of the Barber window, and it procced the lucky hit, then it would refresh the duration or add 2 seconds to the duration. What you're going to see now is, well, that duration is pretty much going to keep refreshing as long as I'm reliably hitting mobs. Right? So just pay attention here.
No nodding off.
All right, see that? Look at the timer. Look at the timer of the Berserk buff. Right? It's just refreshing all the way. Right? And refreshes again, and refreshes again, and it's just refreshing. It keeps refreshing. Right? So this is 100% Berserk uptime with the Barber on, and just to show you, the Barber is on. So, yep. Okay, so I think that's enough footage to properly illustrate that the Relentless Berserker aspect is actually working through the Barber, now in 1.1.1. The next one I want to show is the exploit glyph. So pretty simply, what we are looking for here with the exploit glyph is, I'm not going to use, in fact, I'm just not going to use my Death Blow. I'm not going to use any of my weapon mastery skills. So I'm not going to get any vulnerable procs from exposed vulnerability, meaning my only source of vulnerable will be the exploit glyph for the first 3 seconds. That's all we care about, right? So what you're going to notice is you're going to notice that regardless of whether I crit, I don't crit, whether the Barber is active or it's not active, as long as there is a mob in the area that I hit for the first time, it's going to turn purple. Vulnerable is going to proc on it. So hopefully we get a decent density here so that I can capture this effect. Alright, okay. Now watch. Right, you see that? It's very clear that the Barber is on. Right? Look, every single mob that I hit for the first time, it's turning purple. Right? That was not happening prior to this patch. It was happening very inconsistently prior to this patch. So, there. See, first hit, purple. Right? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a 100% proc rate for the first time you hit a mob. Okay? So to be clear, exploit was working prior to the patch. It was just working very inconsistently. What we're looking for now is 100% consistency, and you will see that I, in fact, have 100% consistency. 100% consistency. Every mob that I hit for the first time turns purple for 3 seconds. Alright? Well, now the first 3 seconds is over, so I gotta wait 20 seconds, so I had to use other skills to proc vulnerable again. Let's go to the next pack. Just do a couple more packs, just to be sure. Let's go over that again. Look, it procs, right? Procs. Every single mob that I hit for the first time, vulnerable procs on it, regardless of whether the Barber is up or it's not, it will proc. So, yep, exploit glyph working perfectly as it should in patch 1.1.1. So, pressure point gives a 30% chance on lucky hit for your core skills to make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. Now what this means, whirlwind isn't really the best skill to be testing this with, so that's why I say it is going to be a bit harder to test for, because whirlwind has a 20% lucky hit chance. That translates to a 6% chance to proc pressure point on hit, right? So what we are looking for is just a couple of procs. As long as this thing procs, we know it's working. Right, and of course, I will remove this just for, just to be safe, so that I can go through my full rotation still without activating exposed vulnerability. So I have no exposed vulnerability, I have points into pressure point, and then, of course, I will remove exploit, and just to replace it with something, I will replace it with territorial. So no exploit, no exposed vulnerability, just pressure point, and let's see what we have. Right, let's see. Yep, we're definitely getting procs. We're getting procs. Just look at the health bars. You see purple, look, you see purple. We're getting procs, right? So the proc chance is only 6%, but it's very clear that we are getting vulnerable procs right now. Just one more pack of mobs just to be quadruply sure. Yeah, elites. Alright, there we go. Proc. Oh, they're dying so fast. Damn it. Proc. Yep. I think this is enough footage to kind of showcase that expose pressure point is definitely working. Right, so yep, Relentless Berserker now works perfectly fine with the Barber. Pressure point now works perfectly fine with the Barber, and the exploit glyph now works perfectly fine as it should with the Barber, and of course, expose vulnerability, which was already working 90% of the time. Now it just works 100% of the time. So just wanted to give a quick PSA. Thumbs if you liked it, down if you didn't, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, folks.